Hey, what up, world? J2K. We're going to kick it off with another Bleacher Report article with Mr. Jonathan Wasserman. Pretty much going to go over the NBA lottery. We pretty much got the teams that are been selected, 1 through 14. And then, of course, we already know for the first round and second round. So kick it off with Mr. Wasserman here. See the best landing spots for each lottery pick in 2020. So as a number one, we're going to fill out Anthony Edwards. The Minnesota Timberwolves have the first round pick. A lot of teams are pretty much, and players are pretty much have admitted that the Minnesota Timberwolves, if they're not going to trade the pick, they're pretty much going to go with Anthony Edwards. I'm in agreement to where if the Timberwolves are going to make that number one pick, you can either go with Anthony Edwards, you can go with LaMelo Ball, as well as James Wiseman. I know they like to play more of that small ball type into where they're not going to put Cat to the 4, so I see no need in them putting James Wiseman as a selection number one pick. They have D'Angelo Russell as your point guard, as a combo guard as well, so I don't think they're going to go with LaMelo Ball. Anthony Edwards is pretty much the undisputed number one pick everyone's going to decide on. So in this case, if the Timberwolves don't make that trade for that pick, they're going to be able to send off Anthony Edwards and pretty much pick him as the number one overall pick in the draft. Personally, for me, I think the Wolves need to blow it up to where they trade away Cat and D'Lo, but that's another subject for another day when it comes down to it. The reason being, they've had Cat for around 5 or 6 seasons. He can't be your franchise player, number one guy, and let alone when it comes down to that, the Western Conference is so stacked and so deep that the timeline for Cat is far-fetched and pretty much it's overlapped. I think they need a new direction, new blood with new players. Anthony Edwards is a great franchise player for their franchise and their team. I just think they need to trade away D'Lo and Cat, but they brought in D'Lo there for a reason, so I know they're going to have that little experiment of keeping those players. So is what it is. I'm not a GM, so let them do what they do. Anthony Edwards going number one to the Minnesota Timberwolves. Me and Mr. Wasserman, we are in agreement. I think he can go top 3, but most likely he's going to be able to be number one pick. So pretty much they're going to go with the core of D'Lo, Karl-Anthony Towns, and Anthony Edwards. I still don't expect them to make the playoffs when it comes down to it. You still have pretty much the 7 teams that are in the playoffs, minus the Oklahoma City Thunder, that will still be in the playoffs for 2021. Plus, you're going to add in a healthy Golden State Warriors. So all 8 teams are pretty much filled out. You have teams like the Phoenix Suns that are going to fight to get into there. I guess the Timberwolves as well. I don't know if they'll be that good. I think they'll probably be a 30-win team. Then you got other respectable teams like the Grizzlies, the Kings. I'm probably missing 1 or 2 more, but yeah, it is what it is. The Western Conference is very stacked, and it's crazy that the first 2 picks of the Wolves and the Warriors, those are Western Conference teams. So now you pretty much have franchise players, young cats, going to the Western Conference year after year, like with Zion Williamson with the Pelicans, Ja Morant and the Memphis Grizzlies. It's pretty ridiculous. The NBA draft lottery, pretty much when it comes to the selections of the percentages and everything, they changed it last season. Pretty much to where if you're the worst team with the worst record in the NBA, instead of having, pretty much going to be a top 1 or a top 3 pick to get the number 1, that percentage actually drops for you, which is crazy. You can be the 10th worst team and you can get the number 1 pick. I don't know, the NBA changed it. I really think they need to help out the Eastern Conference, because if you had the Bulls and Hornets with the first and second pick, that'll be huge to where you need more All-Stars in the East. But that's another subject for another day. I don't want to go too much into there. James Wiseman from Memphis. He's a center. He's around 7 feet. Pretty much he's going to go, I expect him to go easily to the Golden State Warriors. They have the number 2 pick. So number 1 pick is going to go, of course, we know the Wolves. They're most likely going to go with Anthony Edwards. Number 2, the Golden State Warriors. They don't need any guards. They don't really need any forwards as of right now. They need a center, and that's something they've been lacking on. They have Andrew Bogut in the past, but recently with the last year or 2, they've really been looking for that center for their team. Ever since JaVale McGee left, Bogut pretty much got older when it came down to it, and when you're playing Kevon Looney, a bunch of minutes, it's not what they need. When it comes down to their second pick, James Wiseman will be perfect for Golden State. He would immediately be in the starting lineup, and they can be able to utilize him for the defensive presence and let alone the getting rebounds and being there for their team. So he's going to be a top 2 pick. He's going to go with the Golden State Warriors. I doubt the Warriors would even trade that pick or anything like it at all. All right, number 3, LaMelo Ball. Pretty much been, he's playing in high school, then decided to go overseas instead of going to a major college. So kudos to LaMelo Ball, who's grown from being 6'2" to 6'8" in around 2 to 3 years or so. I expect him to go easily to the Charlotte Hornets with number 3 pick. I know they have Devontae Graham and Terry Rozier. They run at their backcourt, but those aren't franchise players. LaMelo Ball will be perfect for their franchise because they're not going to pick anyone in free agency that's going to make any impact. And as a 6'8" point guard, he's going to be able to take over the Eastern Conference. Not take it over, but pretty much have dominant performances. I believe in his 3rd or 4th season, he can become easily an all-star. He's a different cat. He's a different dog when it comes to him and his brother Lonzo Ball. Lonzo Ball is more lackadaisical when it comes to it. LaMelo Ball has more of a motor and aggressive side, and he is around 3 inches taller than his brother. So LaMelo Ball, I expect him to go to the Charlotte Hornets with the number 3 pick. I doubt the Golden State Warriors would ever pick him up. They don't need him when it comes down to it. Donji Avija, he's easily going to go with the number 4 pick. Either the Chicago Bulls are going to pick him up, let alone the Cleveland Cavaliers. Either him or Obi Toppin. The Chicago Bulls, I bet they really wanted that number 3 pick to go with LaMelo Ball for their franchise. But for him, the Chicago Bulls, they are looking for a true point guard. They're not going to find anyone since LaMelo Ball and Anthony Edwards already picked up. And with Chicago, they already got their front court already set with Wendell Carter, and as well as you do have Larry Markkinen. So they've always pretty much been lacking a 3 on their team, a true small forward. They can go the direction of Denji Abidja to bring the offense for their team, and he's a good combo forward for their team. Pretty much he would have a good pick for his versatility, pretty much that can elevate the group, as the author is stating as right here. And a good thing with playing in the EuroLeague, these European players pretty much have a higher IQ. They play with better competition at a younger age, and they know how to play in a team offense. And pretty much they got a dog in them. You can't just throw them off. They'll get right back on their feet, and they got a tough side when it comes to it. Chicago right now, they have Otto Porter Jr. with his last contract year. I believe he's most likely going to opt in, so they're going to keep him. And I doubt they'll make a trade for him, but Otto Porter Jr. can come off the bench when it comes down to it on there. Obi Toppin, he's going to be able to pretty much be picked up by the Cleveland Cavaliers, and this is pretty much going to leave an entryway for them to finally trade Kevin Love, which is crazy. Obi Toppin's he's had amazing highlights this season. If you look back into it, his sophomore year. When it comes down to him, Cleveland will be a good fit for him. Automatically, you have Andre Drummond at the 5. You can roll Obi at the 4, trade away Kevin Love for maybe, a draft pick and some younger pieces when it comes down to it. But for him, he's a great fit for Cleveland. Cleveland's not going to pick any other big free agents. The only reason why Andre Drummond did re-sign with the Cleveland Cavaliers is because he's not going to find $30 to $35 million with any other team in free agency right now, especially due to COVID and his playing style. So, and Andre Drummond with the Pistons, it was a bad year for both parties. Even though Andre Drummond can still put up numbers, he wasn't an all-star. He got traded away. So, go off in Cleveland for one season, then get paid when it comes down to it. Pretty much going to stop there with the top 5. I know with 6 through 14, it can go all over the place. We can quickly go over these with Tyrese Haliburton. I forgot who was the number 6 pick when it comes to it. But whenever it comes to him as a point guard, shooting guard, I doubt. Well, it says right here the best spot is for the Atlanta Hawks. Listen, you already got Trae Young on the team. They really need some small forwards, 3-and-D players when it comes down to it. But for him, I could pretty much see him with the. Man, I forgot. I wish I had the list on me right now. kind of go forward with here. Onyeka Okinawa, center for the team. They said the Washington Wizards. They could definitely use him. But yeah, I'm going to skip within these. Pretty much wanted to cover the top 5 when it comes down to it. I'll probably make another video going forward with the other lotto picks. But these were pretty much the whole foundation of going a little further in the draft. I think these top 5 players, they'll fit in well with their appropriate teams, as I mentioned. You know, rolling down with Obi Toppin and then going down here to number 1, Anthony Edwards. There's not going to be any immediate impact with these players with their franchises, such as like going to the playoffs or anything like that. It's going to have to take a couple of years. I think the one as the most impact needed was pretty much for the Golden State Warriors with James Wiseman. I think for the long run, it's going to be for LaMelo Ball and the Charlotte Hornets. I'm excited to see what he can do for that franchise, but let's see if the Warriors make a trade for that pick or any of these other teams as of right now. I'm excited to see the new direction, but yeah, we'll go from there.